Hey guys, this is OddOneGaming. This is going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. In today's video we are back on the test server because, you know what, I wanted to do a bit more testing on the new fusion Skorid, the half spawn. So the reason why I keep wanting to test him is because there's still mixed opinions on him when it comes to, you know, actually doing the fusion. There's some people that say they're doing it, other people saying not because he's just a damage dealer. Well, I kind of want to emphasize on something. I do believe that everybody should be doing this fusion, and what I'm going to show you is actually I tested him in Hydra. I pretty much threw him in my Hydra team, in my best team that I'm using, and not my best, my second best, because my best team is the cheese team with Wixwell and Yannicka, but I threw him in my second best team that's like, you know, full on damage with Sifi, with Lady Mika. Actually, you know what, let me just show you exactly the team that I'm talking about. And this was basically a full auto team. So Lady Mikage, Krisk, Sifi the Lost Bride, then Skorid, Michinaki, and then I also have in here Feral the Barkhorn, which brings, you know, the block buffs and all the other cool stuff. And this is pretty much the best team that I'm using currently as a normal team without cheese, just raw damage and all the crazy stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, he did more damage than Michinaki, okay? He did more damage than Michinaki, and I did not expect that, okay? Because, especially because Michinaki has this passive that he can keep joining the attack if there's Hex out there. He does the burns, he does the AoEs on both of the hits. Also with Lady Mikage in the team, every time Lady Mikage does an A1, Michinaki is guaranteed to do an A1 as well. So all in all the odds and everything is supposed to be in Michinaki's favor. So how come he did more damage? Well, the thing is, like, okay, I do have the 5-star blessing on him, and I want to say this before we continue showing this team. I have a strong feeling there's like a 99% chance, nothing confirmed yet, but there's a 99% chance we're gonna get a some sort of a either Titan event or a Path event to get his soul to a 5-star, and being able to do that will allow us to give him something like Nature's Wrath, which basically he's gonna gain a 15% damage boost because he keeps placing debuffs. So every time he places debuffs, he gets more damage. So after he did 5 debuffs placed, he's gonna get 15% more damage. That's gonna be a ton. Also, he's gonna get 38 more crit damage. He's gonna get more attack, you know, all of the other cool stuff, which kind of gives you more reasons to actually do this fusion. And again, it's not 100% confirmed, but the way that I'm seeing it is like, you know, we were offered to be given this soul, whereas when we had the Shiak fusion last time, we were not offered to be given the soul for him, the awakening for him, and obviously it never happened in game. So that's why I'm saying there's a 99% chance we're gonna get something for him to get his soul. It might not happen again, this is just me speculating, however, I have a strong feeling that's gonna happen. Now, let me just show you exactly the presets that I had for this team, for example. So, I have Lady Mikage just in in her second form. Sorry, in her main form. I block out the Metamorph so she doesn't swap over. She opens with an A1, which gives everybody increased attack and increased crit damage, which is good because, you know, he benefits from that increased attack. Even though he puts it on himself on the A2, having somebody else bring it means he's gonna have the damage boost all the time. But then I make it prioritize the A2 so that I keep up the buffs that I have in the team pretty much all the time. Same thing with Krisk. He opens with the A3 as priority, then second priority the A2, which again brings ally protection and increases buff duration. Sifi opens with the A2, and then if revive is needed, this one's priority, but then make sure you force her to use the A2, because I've seen Sifi sometimes actually not use the A2 because there's increased speed or increased defense out there, and you want her to do it especially because she brings that turn meter boost as well. 10%, you know, it adds up. It's a lot when we think about the grand scheme of things. Now Michinaki, he opens with the A2 because they should already have Hex out there, but then priority number 1 is the A3, which removes buffs and puts Hex. Second priority is the A2, which brings decreased defense and also brings decreased attack if he attacks targets under Hex. Then we have Skorid. I make him prioritize the A3 first, then the A2, which, you know what, maybe I should swap them around because we're gonna have Hex pretty much on all the time. I think I should do this the other way around, okay? Maybe just open with the A3, then prioritize the A2 first because he's gonna attack more targets. And the cool thing about this, from what I've seen happening with damage, is these ones always count as single target hits, okay? And then Feral Barkhorn, prioritize the block buffs, and the second priority the Perfect Veil and increased resist. Now this team is pretty much full auto, and Again, it's a pretty fun team and it does close to 500 million, okay? Considering there's no enemy max HP champion in this team, this one's pretty cool. So we have this, we have that one going, we have the provoke, then hexes, look at the damage, pretty good, considering there was no decreased defense, and then we have Michinaki. Now, one thing I want to show you with the A2 that makes me believe that this A2 is actually counts as single target is because when he does his A2, let's slow it down, I guess. So when he does the A2, come on, can we get to him or not yet? Okay, so when he does his A2, let's target this one first. Watch the damage on every other one. Obviously, it's not the best one to showcase him because there's lots of force going on, but check the damage. You're not going to see lots of damage mitigation. Maybe over here, you're not going to see lots of damage because there's no increased defense, but you should see pretty much about the same damage depending on defense level. 296. 325. So that basically tells us the fact that that A2 counts as a single target hit, which means there's no damage mitigation going on from, you know, the passives of the Hydra heads that say that they take less AoE damage, especially when there's the head of mischief, sorry, the head of suffering out there, which means they will take less. Like even this one, the Chris's damage all Hydra heads take from AoE attacks by 10%, okay? All of them pretty much have the same thing, but when suffering's off, there's even more. So overall, this team is pretty fun. You see the damage that I'm doing. The reason I'm trying brutal and the reason why I ran this on brutal, obviously it's gonna work on nightmare as well. But the reason I'm showing on brutal is because I had a key where I actually used Marius the Gallant, okay, the Void Legendary has a triple max HP hitter on the A2, and I wanted to compare the damage that he does, you know, to compare it to Marius as well. And first of all, I'm not gonna let you, you know, I'm not gonna bore you, show you all this run. I'm just gonna show you what happened at the end. So at the end, this was the total damage. You see this, Skorid 233 million, whereas Michinaki 171. There's a, what's that, 25% damage difference, like he did about 60 million more damage compared to Michinaki, and that's a lot, okay? Let's say we take the soul away from him and you only have a 1-star, it would still not lower that much. I even had a run where I did it before the soul, I just forgot to screenshot it, he still did like 10% or 20% more damage than Michinaki, and that's really powerful, okay? If that doesn't make him a viable nuker for Hydra, then I don't know what does. Obviously, we still have the cheese teams of Tranda, and then we have the Wix Wolianica ones, but I have a strong feeling that in the next month or two, they're gonna fix that like they mentioned in the past. So having him be able to come in a team like that is gonna make him really powerful. And if you go have a look at his kit overall again, there's one thing that I keep trying to push that I'm hoping they're gonna change, but basically, okay, these are the stats that I have on him just to see. 251 speed, 7.1k attack, 324, that's a lot of crit damage because of the awakening, 324 crit damage and 315 accuracy. These are his masteries with Helm Smasher. He's in 6-piece Merciless plus 2-piece Scroll. This is more of an endgame showcase, but this is not the best. I mean, this one's flat HP, this one's a crit damage with upgraded one, this one's again attack speed, I could get more attack percent. These pieces could maybe be a lot better, okay? Some of these are good, some of these are, you know, 5-star, then 5-star. There should be, you know, there's a lot better that I can do. But when we look at his kit again, keep in mind this. He fills his turn meter whenever he attacks targets under Hex, which means he gains 40% turn meter every time he does an AoE when the Hex already out there. So that means he's gonna rotate faster. If, when they're not under Hex. When they're under Hex, he ignores 15% more defense, which, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's a lot, because 15 from here plus 40 from the Merciless and Cruel, that's what, 55 plus the 25 from Hell Smasher, he gets really close to true damage. That's really good. Then the A3, obviously, he can apply Hex. One thing that I'm pushing is to change this to be like damage increases. I already mentioned this in the previous video, but damage increases by 20% for each Hex debuff placed. I'm trying to tell them to suggest that maybe they should change this to increase it by 20% for each Hex debuffs on each enemy, okay? Because otherwise, in a Hydra fight, you're gonna have Hex pretty much on all the time, especially because on the A1, he has a 60% chance of applying debuff spread, taking one Hex debuff and placing it on all enemies. If the target isn't under Hex, he will spread another random debuff. So most of the time you're gonna have Hex, especially in a team like I showed you, because I have Michinaki that brings Hex as well, I have Kriskin and Cursed that puts Hex, I have Lady Mikage that extends the Hex, so that's one thing. Another thing, he's currently bugged in a way. Like, I've seen half of the time, he will not do this A2 on decapitated heads that have Hex debuff. I don't know why, it's some sort of a buff, but he will do the A2 on a target, but then he will not do the extra hit, you know, the repeat attack on decapitated heads. So keep in mind that he lost maybe 10-20% damage because of that, because, you know, when you hit decapitated heads, it's a lot more damage. So, you know, maybe I'm hyping him too much, but I do believe that he's one of the ones that if people don't do this fusion, they're gonna regret it. This is my opinion. Everybody can choose and do whatever they want, but again, considering the fact that he's not perfectly working as intended, we have a high chance that we're gonna get an awakening for him, right? We're gonna get the blessing for him to get him a 5-star, which is gonna be huge. And also the fact that, you know, he can do some crazy stuff, maybe even have a chance to change this. Kind of tells me that he's a fusion that everybody should do. Again, let me know, what do you believe about this fusion after you've seen what I showed you. And oh yeah, I was gonna show actually the other damage. The other damage is this one compared to Marius. Okay, so I did 428 obviously on the Marius's Void Affinity, and on the main server we don't have as many force heads, but still, you still see 187 over here, 171, 226, 233. So he even does more damage than Marius, actually. He even does more damage than Marius. So I do believe that Skorid, the half one, is somebody that people should do as a fusion. Again, like, I'm definitely gonna do it. But anyway, I'm gonna leave it at this for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel to see when I upload next, and you'll see you on the next one. Peace, love, take care, everyone. Bye, guys.